everybody. This is the Seahawks Uncovered podcast with your boys, FLEXMatt and Brandon Adam from the Flex Network. You can follow the Undroppables. That's where we are. We're on the Undroppables podcast network. Follow them at the Undroppables and follow us at the Flex Network 1. And we are here to talk about week 1 in the preseason. I know it's just the preseason, but we're hyped. If you are a Seahawks fan, what's up, 12s? If you're here just joining us just to tune in, see what the hell we're all about, that's fine too. You must be here because you follow the Undroppables. Go follow us at the Flex Network 1. Brandon's on there talking a bunch of malarkey on there generally, which we love. We love that, or our nice fantasy football takes. But join in, 12s, on the conversation today. We will be going through preseason week 1, a little bit of the goods, a little bit of the bads. We want to intend to kind of get the nation, the Undroppable nation, with us here. And what we're going to do weekly is we're going to try to hop on right after the game, get into a little bit of the post-game speak, and then maybe a little, pre-look later on in the week. So today we're going to kind of go and drop our post-game quick notes for preseason week 1. But Brandon, Adam, how the heck are you, my friend? Hey, who else has local hero music on the Seahawks Uncovered, podcast here? Let's go do that again. That was hype. A little bit of Macklemore to get you a little bit of hype here.
Yeah,
Brandon,
why not?
Let's talk about the Seahawks hype. Preseason week 1. What did you think about it? Do you have any notes? I mean, what off the top of your head, what do you got going on for us here, brother?
I just feel my overall impression of what's happening with this organization is that I feel a youthful energy and enthusiasm, and they're excited about what's happening with the coaching staff. And it seems like to me that these guys are all – Mike Macdonald has really challenged everybody at their position to quickly get going. And the way he teaches is allowing him to install at a quick pace. And we saw even in the game, we saw coverage changes. We saw 270-pound defensive ends dropping into zone to the flat to knock down a pass. And I couldn't believe I saw that. I was shocked to see that. And it was pretty fun to watch. And yeah, Mike Macdonald is going to be I think he is going to unleash a package of that is going to challenge every single offense in this league. And he has the brain to do it and to call a game like he does. And you could just tell the Chargers had no answers whatsoever against that defense. And it was pretty exciting to watch. But it was Easton Stick. It was that. Herbert wasn't there. So but temper a little bit. But
you might be able to put in like that Easton Stick, on like the Falcons is probably the 5th string quarterback. I'm just saying that. I don't know where he'd fall in the depth chart, but he stinks. We need to get him out of there. That's what happens when you have Justin Herbert and just
nobody else.
Your season's over when he goes down, and it was evident. But let me tell you one thing, and this is my top note here. Maybe we shouldn't end with the bads. Maybe we should start with the bads.
Sure.
Okay, let's start with the bads. But I just wanted to say my first note was best case scenario was this game. Number one, we didn't want to lose to the Chargers, obviously, with the Harbaugh connection there. Mike Macdonald didn't want to take an L that game. The Seahawks fans, the 12s, we didn't want to take an L. We would probably be okay with an L and like a little bit of goodness, but there was a lot of greatness, it seemed like, there in week 1, and we got to stifle. I mean, we flustered Easton Stick, okay? And the entire Chargers teams. Like you said, the coverages were exactly what we saw, and this was vanilla. This was vanilla.
Yes, this was vanilla. Like what we're gonna see. It's incredible.
It was awesome. We lined up in cover 2. Safety dropped into the box. Ended up in cover 3. Baffled Easton Stick. We ended up almost ripping that ball off for another defensive point here. But let's start the bad, Brandon. We got a lot of good to talk about. Let's start with the bad. My first thing that I had here on the bad side that I didn't love,
Here we go.
Zach Charbonnet.
Yep.
Didn't love it.
Thank you. You said it. Nice. You said it. I didn't think you were going to say that. Okay.
Yep. Zach Charbonnet didn't look incredible to me. Now, we spoke about this before. There may have been some running backs across the league that were just told, hey, no injuries, no special sauce. Let's get in, let's get out, let's get the in-game feel. And maybe that's all Charbonnet was doing. Okay.
Maybe.
But the two running backs directly behind him look to be running pretty incredible. You can tell the difference there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really like George out of Boise State.
George Helani.
Helani. I think Helani has the similar body type to a Ken Walker at 5'11", 210 pounds. I think he really runs with some grit. He was averaging 4.3 yards per carry. Ended up scoring as well. I think he is going to end up being our RB3, kind of like a Thomas Rawls reincarnated.
He looks like a mini Charbonnet. It's kind of what he looks like. You know, when you kind of look at him, he's smaller than Charbonnet, but he has a very similar look. Sometimes I mistake Helani. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I mistake Helani for Charbonnet. Obviously, there's some tidbits here that I have, and both my bads are from the Pete Carroll regime, second round draft picks that I felt were maybe a tad overdrafted. But Charbonnet, Charbonnet, yes, was a lot overdrafted. Maybe for a different team, a different scheme, might have been good. This scheme is very favorable to the running back. Okay, as much as Grubb's offense is about the highlight passings, downfield opportunities, the running backs do get a lot of good run. They set up blocks for these running backs. Maybe we didn't see a lot of that. See, that's how I'm going to chalk this up, is you didn't see it. What you did see was a lot of pre-snap motion, which I love. There's only a couple bunch formations that I really love. JSN got deep and wide, a slot fade on a bunch route, which I thought if Sam Howell had the opportunity, he could have chucked it deep to him. But
I agree. I just rewatched that like 20 minutes ago. I think JSN, that's one negative to me, is that if I'm JSN and I know that no other top tier talent is on the field with me, being preseason game 1, I'm going for big yards. And I'm demanding to get some targets, but they only gave him 2. He really didn't have a ton of run, which means he is solidified in the start. They just probably used him because he needed to be a body. But I just feel like with what he had last year, I would have wanted to like really show up, because it was all about me that night in the offense, and it was. And he was people were getting open because of his route running. Everybody was. That's what's awesome about those bunch sets, is that JSN was clearing out routes, and they were sitting down underneath it on dig routes and be able to hit that. So that's good to see. But I'm just saying, like, if I'm JSN, I don't know, man. He only got 6.9.
We don't know the scheme. We don't know the idea, right? I think that he was a piece of candy out there, almost a decoy. Now, that is a lot of what Jalen McMillan did at UW, at least in this last year, coming off an injury. He is somewhat of a decoy there. That's okay. We're okay with that. Now, can they get open? Can the scheme get those guys open? Yes. Now, are they always going to be the first read? Probably not. And I think it was a piece of eye candy for the Chargers to try to key on. Let's get the ball to some of these underneath guys and see what we can do there. Keep the ball moving. That's something that I really love in Grubb's offense. It is a lot of short stuff, but it provides the opening downfield. Unlike Pete Carroll, where he thought, okay, in order to get the short stuff going, to get the long stuff going, it was all run. It was all run.
Yep.
Try to play action. It's a little bit of a different scheme here. So I was okay with JSN not getting the ball a lot. He played a lot, which was crazy to me. I mean, you saw him playing deeper into the game, and I thought, okay, are we worried about sacrificing injury? Probably not, because we just weren't going to give him a ton of looks. That's how I looked at it. So I was quite okay there. But my second bad,
he got 22 snaps total. So
yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, he's a first round draft pick. I mean, the guy's a high end dynasty asset for our.
I know, but I think they really just needed him to be out there just to function as an offense, just for personnel reasons, probably. Like, I think you're right. I was probably too tough on him, but I want to see something. I want to see a step forward with JSN early.
Well, and this is exactly why my second bad, Boye Mafe, I had a very similar thing. Now, the difference with JSN and Boye is Boye got a ton of run and a lot of run. And obviously you don't get the ball thrown to you as a defensive end, but now let me talk out of both sides of my mouth. Boye got a lot of pressure. I love that. But
yeah, he does pressure.
And this will transition to some of the goods that we saw there. You could tell the difference between Byron Murphy and Boye Mafe. Okay?
Oh, goddamn right.
Now,
I
want Boye Mafe to have a breakout year. He had a great year.
He did have
a good year last year. Something like 8 or 9 sacks, something like that. So you would expect a lot of that. You would expect him to dominate against these second teams. He was getting he was getting pressure. I love that. But I saw a lot more out of Derek Hall on the other side. Derek Hall was a beast this game. He was all over the field. And again, maybe it's scheme. I couldn't tell you, but you could absolutely see the difference between Byron Murphy and Boye Mafe on the field together, moving into our goods, Brandon, unless you have another bad one. But I'm trying to transition into the goods right now. Byron Murphy has the goods. What do you think about Byron Murphy, Brandon? What do you think about it?
Dude, I think we got ourselves a hell of a steal in the draft. I mean, this guy is a top 10 talent in most drafts, but this last draft was just so offensively loaded that these teams loaded up because of how expensive it is to sign wide receivers. There were so many that were drafted and quarterbacks. So a guy like Byron Murphy, this defensive tackle, it's early. Mike McDonald, it was funny watching his presser today after camp joint practices with the Titans. He was asked about Byron Murphy and about how they're not trying to hype him up, but like they're trying to not like feed. They kind of want to like surprise everybody with this guy. They don't want the media to talk about him, so they're really not talking about him at all. But he is flashing in every practice. He's flashing all over the game as well. He was being doubled, and they couldn't even stop him, man. I'm telling you, Aaron Donald could be. It's funny that he retired this year, and Byron Murphy was drafted.
That would have been great. Division. Aaron Donald's probably going to be watching some of these games, Rams, Seahawks, and be like, damn it, I could get back out there again. I could do this again. Who knows? Yep. Sean McVay could pull it out of his ass, dude. If anybody can do it.
You never know. He might come back next year.
Who knows? But Byron Murphy is you can't single coverage this guy. Every time he did, he absolutely bull rushed, sheds blocks, right into tackles. It was great. He was a little overhyped, almost had a sack, fell off the guy because I think it's just because he didn't expect just to bull right through the China shop and get to the QB. But he
was getting there quick.
You now see, and almost every snap they were rolling double coverage to him, which allowed Derek Hall to get there, which allowed guys and pressure to get to the QB. They triple teamed him, and he's still fighting through it.
And think about it. As this progresses each week, let's see how many fronts we're getting. I saw about three or four fronts that they were using throughout this game for defense. They really weren't too deep with that. I think we're about to see every week a new thing be installed and shown. Let's watch it every week and we'll find out what the differences are. And by the time we get mid-season, this defense is going to be so hard to throw on. It's it's going to be incredible. And the biggest plus I thought was Tariq Woolen. I think Tariq Woolen was my biggest positive I saw throughout the game. Having a bounce back year this year, he really, really is focusing in. And Mike McDonald has been very hands-on with Tariq Woolen and what he wants him to be. And Woolen is stepping up to the plate. He had 2 pass breakups on his 2 targets, but man, you can see that he's going to be making a ton of plays this year and he's going to get a lot of turnovers. And I feel like our defense is going to be very good in the turnover margins this year in 2024.
Yeah, I think what was kind of unique, or maybe this is scheme, because Mike McDonald usually is quite okay having these corners be out on their islands. Either they're playing zone or man, they'll disguise which one they're playing, but they generally will have a corner in the way or in the face of an outside receiver. It seemed like they were targeting Rick Woolen, which was a little bit of a mistake. I was completely fine with that. I think sometimes Rick Woolen baits quarterbacks. He was trailing the crosser route. He stepped on the gas, almost intercepted it. Those things right there are elite level stuff. You look like you're beat, you're not beat. You have he has the fastest speed rating of any defensive back in Madden. Top corner speed rating in Madden. That might mean something. I don't know.
I'm
gonna take it. 97 speed, guy's fast. His speed is unreal on the field, and you saw it. And keeping up with the defense. I mean, we used Kobe Bryant's picture for the thumbnail today. Might be the last time we ever do it. Don't know, but
no. I think this dude's good. I think this dude's gonna be making plays. I think the safeties for Seattle are special again. I really do. I really feel like we're gonna get everything out of our safety position that we got back in the day. I'm telling you, Mike McDonald.
You say that, because I wrote down, this is literally what I wrote down. I said, having defenders swarming either around the ball or somewhere to make a play off deflections looks like LOB. Yep. I mean, it looks like what it was back in the day when Sherm was left on an island. He was going to tip and someone was around it. A linebacker, a safety, somebody was around to try to make a play on it. That was 2 times in the game that we had a very similar situation. Kobe Bryant ended up coming up with one of them. I thought that was phenomenal. And you're right. I mean, the next one, Tyrell Dodson, Tyrese Knight. I mean, the rookie stepped in 3rd round, and he seemed to have an absolute nose for the football. Mike McDonald, you could tell this was his pick in the 3rd round. Tyrese Knight, not looked at as anybody's top 10 boards, starting right away. I do believe he will get the start season in game 1. He just has a nose for the football, man. Both of them do. T-Dot does too. And what I wanted to notice, or what I put down there, is, something that the Seahawks seem to have been losing or not been strong in is their depth. And now all of a sudden, I'm feeling like, because Mike McDonald has all these schemes set up for people to be successful in what they are successful in. We didn't have Draymond Jones. We didn't have Darrell Taylor. We didn't have, I had somebody written down. I can't see it here, but they weren't there. Jerome Baker, that's who it was. They weren't there. 3 key pieces of the defense were not there, and we were able to force 6 easy outs on defense. Now, back to offense, we had 11 converted 3rd down plays, which we were almost near. I mean, we're a terrible 3rd down team last year. I believe we converted at least 11 of them, and we looked like we were able to move the ball on offense, and that was awesome on both sides. Now, getting to the offense, like we mentioned before, the running backs, George Halani, Kenny McIntosh. Okay. Kenny McIntosh over 5 yards a carry. The guy ran incredibly tough when he got the ball. You could tell he had missed an entire season. He loves football. 7th round pick out of Georgia. The guy was awesome. Awesome on the field yesterday. What did you think about some of our key pieces of offense?
I thought Sam Howell was functionable. I was worried about him a little bit coming out of camp, or so far in camp. He's been struggling, but I mean, we got to take that with a grain of salt, because he's going against Mike McDonald every single day calling defenses. And that's something that needs to be thought about too, and understood. So Sam Howell was functional. So if Gino has anything for a few games, I think we're okay. I think we could get a 60% win rate, 2 out of 3 win rate, hopefully, with him as a backup. So that was nice to see. It's just so hard. Not enough guys played. I did like the fact that we were using a lot of zone running. I'm happy to see that. I think we need to see that more often in Seattle with Ken. I think the biggest thing I took away was the fact that DK, Ken,
Tyler Lockett, Cross,
Gino,
Lucas,
dude,
Gino, like half of our offense.
Dude,
no
like
Connor Williams.
That's what I'm saying. So I keep everything I think I'm seeing about this scheme. If you're a fantasy player, Ken Walker is a guy that we need to buy. I think everything is pointing to the direction that this guy is going to be a 3-down back, and we aren't going to see a lot of sharps. I don't think
we are either. I'm a little bit nervous about that, but it is what it is. The notes I had on Sam Howell was, and there was a couple things. So on Brock and Salk in the morning, that's our local radio here. Salk had a question to Brock. It's like, well, Sam Howell's a gamer, and it seems like maybe that's just what he is. Are we okay with that? And Brock was like, probably, no, but we want to get better.
We paid a lot for him.
Well, 3rd round pick. We really didn't pay that much.
That's a lot. That's Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Jesus. But in some drafts, it's Russell Wilson. Right?
I'm just saying.
We were doing that because next year's draft is not good. Your top 2.
Yeah, but Sam Howell was not worth no 3rd round pick. I'm sorry. I don't
know. He played so the note I have was competitive and perfect NFL backup. I mean, he's career a guy backup that can. Yes, I'm a little nervous that when it comes time for Sam Howell to be done with his rookie contract, we're looking at 2026 for a QB here in Seattle. I mean, the writing's on the wall. I don't think that there's anybody, unless we're talking Cam Ward in the 2nd round, maybe, that we really go out there and target. So we're looking at a 2026 QB. We're also looking at the guys on our roster being a bridge quarterbacks. Can Gino make it 2 or 3 more years and actually bridge? Yeah. Will Sam Howell be around long enough to actually be able to use as a bridge QB? These are the things that I'm tussling with, because I do believe Sam Howell gets a shot as a starter somewhere else. The other one I have here on offense was Laviska Shenault. I ate a little bit of my words from last week's podcast. I was not high on Laviska, and I still am not high. What I said was he didn't really have a role that really excited me, or a role that I thought, okay, Laviska's going to come in and he might take the 4th wide receiver position over. He's not. I don't think he's going to do that.
No, he's so predictable in what he can do. He can do 2 things.
But how important are these kickoff return guys going to be? We saw it with Laviska. How important is the field position difference going to be when you're starting on the 40-yard line heading into the midfield? How important in Ryan Grubb's offense are these little dumps, screens, outside plays? How important are they on 1st down instead of a 2-yard run? These are the things that a football mind or a fan mind might get different between each other. You know, some people might really enjoy the old school pound the rock on first down and all that stuff. And we may see a lot of that, but Laviska is going to give us another out. Laviska and JSN, I feel like, are going to give us a real good out. We have Bobo on the outside, who's going to give us a good out. I don't love or see any other wide receiver that's really going to come into our scheme and be a game changer. So I think that's where Noah Fant's going to come in at UW. The tight end, Culp and Westover, who's on our team. They, we're outlets for these three main receivers, and that's how it's going to be with our team. I think the last thing I had on my list here was Christian Haynes. When he got in the game, they seemed to be able to do more. This is not a knock on Anthony Bradford. It's not a knock on Laken Tomlinson. But once Christian Haynes got in the game, they were able to be a little more athletic. Were able to catch these edges on offense that really set our guys up a little bit better. Kenny McIntosh. What was cool about Christian Haynes is he played on both sides. So I love the versatility there. I love the idea of being able to swap some of these guys if they can do that. I love what you said, and this is kind of how we're going to end this thing, because, like I said, these podcasts, we wanted to give the viewers a kind of a run through of how our post game pods are going to be, just quick 30-minute rundowns of the games, and that's how we're going to do it. So my last thing on Christian Haynes were, I want to see more of what our team's going to look like when we're at full health. That is the biggest deal. We seem to be tearing up the Titans in practice. I think we have a good couple games here with younger QBs where we can really see if we're stifling them. We ate up Easton Sick. We're going to eat up Will Levis when it comes down to it. Let's hope, even though we love our boy Will.
I like Will Levis.
We like Will. We like Will. But Brandon, how can we leave you, my friend? Final notes from you.
Let's just overall scheme impression. I'm very excited in the direction we're going. I think we're modernized in the offensive area quite a bit. I feel like we are more athletic. I feel we're smaller, but we're more athletic overall. Faster. That's the biggest impressions I've seen for depth as well. Like I said, impact. I think we're going to have impact plays from the safety position. I think it's going to be some missiles flying around with our secondary this year.
Well, thank everybody for joining us today. Again, this was our quick post-game wrap-up. I think the hype's justified, Brandon. I mean, we're going to keep the train rolling. We walked through the schedule. If you guys wanted to listen back to that, it's on the Undroppables podcast live feed on their YouTube channel. For Brandon Adam, I am FlexMatt. You can follow us at the Flex Network 1. Follow the Undroppables. Thank you for allowing us this platform to talk our beloved Seahawks. We will see you guys next time.